Hi, Aisling Hurley here, CEO of Breast Cancer Ireland, and we're here today to launch the Great Pink Run Expert Voices, brought to you by UPMC Autism Hospital. We have an exciting lineup for you this year, running across a number of different weeks, where we will hear about the impact of what the funds raised and how they will benefit patients into the future. We will also hear from Kate Lennon, Nutrition Manager at Glanbia, about how to fuel and what foods are necessary before and after getting involved. And then we will hear from our patron of the Great Pink Run, Irish Olympian Sonia O'Sullivan, and finally from Professor Adrian Lee, University of Pittsburgh, lead breast cancer research scientist.
So to find out a little bit more about where your very generous donations go around the Great Pink Run, I'm delighted to be joined by Aisling Hurley. She's the CEO of Breast Cancer Ireland. Aisling, you're very welcome.
Thanks, Bobby. Delighted to be here.
Now, tell us, Aisling, about the funds for the Great Pink Run. How will they actually be channelled?
Well, I suppose the last 2 years we've been very much focusing on metastatic disease. And metastatic disease is a time when breast cancer has been treated originally and the disease recurs. So the tumour travels into major organs of the body. It can be the liver, can be the bone, spine, and it can be the brain. So what we're looking at is this is really challenging piece of research. We've teamed up and joined forces collaborating with the University of Chicago. So we have a team of scientists here working with their scientists in Chicago, where we're looking specifically at metastatic disease progression, and we're trying to come up with new targeted therapies to prevent this recurrence, to prevent that progression into the brain, for instance, is one of the key areas. So we channeled, for the last 2 years, we've channeled money into that area, and previously we challenged money into a subtype breast cancer called triple negative breast cancer, and this happens younger women. And if you look statistically, we have 3,700 people who are diagnosed with breast cancer annually. 30% of those are under the age of 50, and it tends to be the younger women with triple negative, which is quite aggressive. It can affect fertility, so they have to freeze eggs, etc. So we're looking, the age-old treatment for triple negative is the standard of chemotherapy, surgery and radiation therapy. So we've been trying to we're working with Queen's University in Belfast and their team to look at what other targeted therapies, new drug therapies can we give to these patients that are diagnosed to avoid toxicity of chemotherapy.
So the impact of these funds then is very significant in relation to preventing breast cancer, finding out more about what works with what different types of breast cancer. So these funds are being put to a really good use.
Really good use. It's enormously important to continuously invest in research. If we stay static, then we don't get to that point where we need to go, which is transforming the disease into a long-term treatable illness. And that's what we're trying to do every day. So constant investment is critical in trying to change that landscape.
And can you give us a sense of the broader landscape for the disease treatments, you know, I suppose both in Ireland and overseas?
Sure. So I suppose if you look back 10 years ago, anyone that was diagnosed with breast cancer in particular, chemotherapy was a standard treatment of care. Today we know with a sophisticated blood test that chemotherapy will only actually work with about 10%. Wow. So therefore we're saying it may not be necessary. That is where we have come up with the whole idea of personalised medicine that's tailored to each individual's particular tumour and cancer base, which means that we're seeing lately that 50% of the patients that are being diagnosed don't require chemotherapy as their treatment.
So when you think of that, in the converse of that is all the people who've had chemotherapy who maybe didn't need it. No. Wow. Yeah.
So nowadays we now know, which is brilliant, we now have very tailored treatments for everybody. It can be hormonal treatment, drug therapy, as in 2 drugs. It could be radiation and surgery, and chemo may not be needed. It sometimes is needed. It depends on the aggressive nature of the cancer. But what we're seeing is that far less people are requiring chemo. We're also seeing far less people undergoing invasive surgery, which is really phenomenal, because our chairman is a leading breast surgeon, and his hope is to do himself out of a surgical career so that he doesn't have to operate on people anymore in an invasive sense through mastectomy or whatever, and that we will be able to kind of move that landscape. We have survival rates now of up from 10 years ago where they were about 73%. Survival is about 85% now. It's good, but it could be better. So we're kind of saying, looking at our Northern European partners and saying, well, their survival rates are 95, 96%, why? And I suppose it's access to medical care, it's understanding and being aware of good breast health and being checked on an annual basis and doing their own self-checking. And that's something we've been trying to bring into Breast Cancer Ireland through our education and outreach programme, which is complementary throughout the country. We go to schools, to TY, to teachers, to companies and into the community, and we talk about good breast health and understanding it, because early detection is key.
Okay, well, thanks for enlightening us today. I think anybody doing the run now can be reassured that all funds raised are going to really important research and again to eradicate this blight of breast cancer. Well done, it's fantastic news.
Thanks a million, Bobby. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Thank you to our amazing panellists for being involved with very insightful information. And thank you to you, the public, who are going to get involved actively and participate in this year's virtual Great Pink Run on October 16th and 17th in your local community, sharing your pictures and helping us to turn the globe pink. So register if you haven't done so on greatpinkrun.ie.